We make that podcast money. Oh, podcast money. We make that podcast money, so you better treat us right.
Tune into the podcast, killing everybody, taking dog tags. Dog, this is awesome. It's Optimus Prime and your quadrant and talking, and you got that. I was in a mind when I crafted this. The Dungeon Master's wrath with a dash of sick. I dash like Sonic Mad, not a pacifist, but pacifist the tracks when I'm rapping, kids. We the last of us, the master race. Take him with a master hand, it's cancerous. I hit him with the master sword, and sure, I make a nice sword, but I wonder how four guys make a Triforce.
Hey guys, welcome to Trinity Force Podcast. I am joined by a great group of guys this week.
Don't lie.
Dom is here.
Don't lie to them. Why do you lie to
DeClaude
them
is here.
every week?
Chira is here.
I'm right here.
I am here. My name is Adam Ponophobia Cogs. Well, I decided to switch the intro up this week because I got yelled at on Reddit. They were like, well, not yelled at. It was funny. He was like, I could read that in your voice. And then somebody typed out my entire intro to me on Reddit. And I was like, well, damn.
You've had some practice.
Hey.
You've done this 170 some odd times.
I was about to say, if anything, that just shows consistency.
Right. So, yeah, hopefully you guys can hear us. The Twitch title has the wrong number, 173. You're right. All right, Twitch title has been fixed. Sorry for you people listening at home. I am just coming back from getting my hair cut and talking with people and getting things
It
done.
looks good.
He's
Snazzy.
frazzled. He's terrible at life outside the podcast, folks.
It really is. I really am. I can't even talk tonight. I have wine.
How much of that bad boy did you throw back?
Let's see here. If you can see it, about half a bottle
Okay,
so far.
you're doing good work.
At about 20 minutes, and it's 12% alcohol, so we're getting there. By the end of this podcast, I'll be screaming about jungle timers, and everybody will be like, "What's going on?"
I'll be right there with you, baby.
We'll look
All right.
forward to it.
You know what else you're right here with me with? Is talking about this stuff. Gatherer's granola. So if you guys did not see this stuff on Monday, just know that this Gatherer's granola is flippin' fantastic, and I have a really good story about this.
Good, tell it.
Okay, so first of all, guys, go to bit.ly/tforced granola. Type in the code TForceGG, and you get 10% off your first order. So, I took one of these bags. I took the Turtle Tracks, I think, to work with me.
It's the best.
And I was sitting there eating it, and one of my coworkers came up, and he goes, "Hey, what are you eating? You know, why do you have granola?" And he's a health-conscious guy. He works out a lot. And I said, well, it's Gatherer's granola. Here, try some. And I turned it out. You can hear it. And I dumped it into his hand. He ate it. He goes, "Oh, my God." He goes, "This stuff is delicious." And I go, "I know!" It's like the old Fred stuff. "I know!" And he was like, "Where can I get this?" And
I can't believe you. I can't believe you just did that. I can't believe you just did that to this poor guy.
I will say, there were some people that I knew that were in an area where I was in while I had granola, and they were allegedly...
Wow, good story.
They
Can't
were
be specific. Good,
allegedly
good. Protect our identities.
under certain intoxicants that will not be named, and they were like, "This granola is delicious," because they just were eating my granola, and
So
yeah, I was like, "Yeah, you can check
Right.
us out at our little web thing and save some money and eat delicious granola because that's what you should do because it's awesome."
That
So-
story lost so much steam.
Right. So fun fact about this granola, it's Gatherer's Gourmet Granola. I'm going to hold it up to the camera. If you're not watching live, I apologize, guys, but this is Gatherer's Gourmet Granola. The flavors are fantastic. And so you guys know a little bit about this company and why we are talking about them is because they don't make it to be healthy per se. Like granola is pretty much naturally healthy, but it is, with the way they make it, is kind of high in calories. But it's going to be better than eating Cheetos and whatever else you're sitting at your computer eating.
Snickers. That's what I eat.
Right.
That's what I ate. Now I eat granola, but I did eat Snickers.
So, you eat like a handful of this and you're full. But what's great about this is these guys don't make the product to be cheap. They make the product a little bit more expensive because they make it for the taste. And you can tell that they put time into doing it for the taste. And that's why this granola is fantastic. If you don't eat granola for breakfast, just go out and buy a bag of this. You guys, they sell it to 11 states in the northeastern area. They sell it to like Trader Joe's and
Whole Foods.
Whole Foods. Or you
Yeah,
guys
and-
can also go to bit.ly/tforce granola and go check it out there as well.
Adam is not joking about the taste stuff. The best lie I told myself yesterday at the office was that I wasn't going to eat all of the granola because I ate all of the granola. Badger's best. Holy shit, that was.
It's so good. I like the coconut isn't like overpowering at all compared to a lot of stuff. It's like just subtle enough.
It's the blend of everything.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
perfect.
Like,
Until you blend 10 flavors together, and then it's not good.
don't do that.
Don't
I
do
tried
that.
that. Don't do that. I mean, like it's not advised. They should probably put that on the label as a warning.
Dom approved, unless you mix 10 labels.
They can use my face like, don't mix all of these together.
You know what I want? I would really like it if they put like a picture of Chira just going, like eating them. But yeah, on the
No, with the
label,
chipmunk
Chira
cheeks.
Jaded approved.
He's got them stuffed in there. There it is.
Yes.
Profile. Now we need a jingle. They need a jingle.
They need a Chira
John needs to
jingle.
sing it.
All right, so that, guys,
Cheers.
that's Gatherer's Granola. Again, bit.ly/T-Force podcast. Use code TForceGG to get 10% off. It's in the document. Or rather, it's in the bottom of the title of this podcast that you're listening to. So, that is that. Don't forget Battle Arena. We had a huge reception of Battle Arena last night. We capped the chat room at 200, and because of that, we're going to start running 2 Battle Arenas on Tuesdays.
All of the battle arenas.
So if you guys want to join Battle Arena, join the in-game chat room T-Force, and you guys can join the Battle Arena on Tuesday nights. Don't forget there is the European Battle Arena, there is the Australian Battle Arena and Bronze Boot Camp. All that information can be found at trinityforcepodcast.com along the top bar. I'm not going to go over it too much. And in the future, there are going to be sign-ups because we did have a couple emails that said, I waited a half an hour and I couldn't get in, blah, blah, blah. I'm a little upset. And I replied and said, I really apologize. We didn't expect it to blow up like it did.
Yeah, but turnout.
Right. So we are going to run 2. The second one is going to be run by Zach and Spork, who have been running Rumble Pit. They're going to start running the second Battle Arena on T-Force Podcast 2. So, and guys, and while we're all doing this, and I don't give these guys enough pimpage, go check out the LCS Rundown and the Ozolo podcast, who are our brother and sister podcasts. You can find those at trinityforcepodcast.com.
I want them to fight over which sibling they are.
Yeah.
I'm sure each episode they actually talk about who they are. Like, we're actually their brother. But this week, we are going to we're going to answer listener questions. We are also going to maybe talk about jungle timers. It depends how drunk I get and at what point I decide to bring it up. Because,
Sounds good to me.
Like I said, I have half a bottle of wine left, and you give me about another quarter of this bottle, and I might just interrupt. If jungle timers, start yelling about it.
He slams it down, glass flies everywhere, the remnants of wine splash up on the camera.
Well, let's keep the
Everybody's
wine
seeing
in
it
the
through
bottle, all right?
This red
And I
filter.
get in the face, I'm like, draw! Start screaming.
Well done. I like that.
Thank you.
All I could think of was a scene in Running Man where Arnold grabs the camera, and he's like, "I hope you save enough room for my fist, because I'm gonna ram it through your stomach and break your goddamn spine." Gah! That was awesome.
All right. Well,
This is already off the
We're
track.
good,
Yeah,
we're
it
good
is.
at intros, guys. We're good at starting this show.
hey, we are known for our 10-minute intros. Yeah, please somebody gift my face. If somebody gifts my face and tweets it at me, I will send you a
You're
bag
my
of
face
granola.
when. Oh yeah, you're my face when Twitters. You got to do one for different scenarios. So you can tweet it.
We need a long blink Dom and a up in your face Adam. Yes, somebody
the
gift
very
that one
least.
too, please. That'll be up on youtube.com/T-Force podcast. General questions, let's go. Volcano Techie writes in, there are a lot of AP champions that really enjoy the stats that come out of hunting guys. What should you upgrade to, or when should you upgrade to Leandries, if at all? What champions best utilize its proc, and is it a priority pick for those champions?
So, I mean, like, Leandris is one of those it's better if you have high HP targets. Nobody's going to argue that hunting guys is good on pretty much all AP champions, but and you do eventually want to upgrade to Leandries if you're going to buy that item in the first place because it has that upgrade test, but you don't need to rush it by any stretch of the imagination because it's not going to be really useful to you until in the later stages of the game. And so you're just better off going for more impactful items in the early goings.
I would say you can sit on
Agreed.
haunting guys forever
Hunting guys
too.
is a good item to
Yeah.
have. So, well, I would only build it sometimes on Sejuani and sometimes on Malzahar. And when I build it on, those are the only two champions that I've ever really built it on, that I find a need to. And it's not really find a need to. It's more like, well, I want health and AP, and I want some survivability, I want some AP, and I kind of like that little dot. I want to play to my strength. Sejuani, she slows you all the time, so you don't need a Riley's Scepter to synergize with the Leandries.
And that's the thing, like if you have a champion that has a lot of slowing just built into the kit, then Leandries becomes so much better for you because of
Right.
all the extra damage.
Double dodging.
Lysandra comes immediately to mind for me. just because almost everything she does has some kind of slowing element to it, and that's a shit ton of extra damage there.
You
But
also want it on
she not
somebody
popular.
who spams spells very quickly and can
Rumble.
get that proc off. Rumble, Cassiopeia is a good one to get it on eventually.
Or
But
even somebody like Zac and Elise who do percentage health damage with abilities. They get more out of the pen, and
you know, Mordekaiser is a good one too because you
Yep.
can drop it on his shield and it procs off his shield while it's sitting in
Oh,
lane,
I
and
hadn't thought of that.
it drops down minions really quickly along with his shield.
I hadn't thought of that.
Like Sejuani with her flail of the northern wind.
I thought that, but you
Yeah.
play Sejuani a lot, and you do what you do.
Right, yeah, it is amazing on Rumble because it procs along with his ultimate. It's anytime you do magic damage that it procs, so it's not on hit effects that
and his ult
procs the item.
slows,
Right.
so it gets that double little kick to it.
The ticking.
Yeah.
That's great on Rumble.
I would look at it as, when am I building haunting guys and why am I building haunting guys? You build it early for the quick life and magic pen, but you're going to build that on champions who can spam spells quickly and are not super dependent on mana, or who are not super dependent on one mana. So like if you're Ziggs, you're going to need that Athene's Holy Grail because you're spamming your spells rather than doing damage. Also, you're also going to build it on somebody who isn't dependent on Deathfire Grasp, like LeBlanc.
I would. It's
So there's
really
a small subset of AP champions that really do get to build it.
right. And
Would it work on Cho'Gath with his Vorpal spikes? Would that proc it every time you auto attack?
It might. It
'Cause it's-
is
Let's
considered
see.
magic damage.
I don't know. It's not an
I'll check
ability,
on- Let's see. I
kind of,
know.
But
I
That'd be
know
a good
that
one.
Spellblade can proc Morellonomicon. I don't know if it procs Leandries.
interesting. Something to try in a custom game.
I don't think it would proc. I think it's off of spells and not passive abilities.
I think it is spells, but
because Mordekaiser's
Eh.
W counts as a spell and not a passive auto attack modifier. And I think Vorpal Spikes is considered an auto. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
yeah,
think Vorpal Spikes is
it's
considered.
it's more like an on-hit effect itself, so I don't think it would. But yeah, something to think about.
Yeah, we would have to actually look up how it is because
try it.
Teemo's E doesn't proc Leandries, does it?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Well, maybe it's smarter to just look up Leandries rather than the other thing.
Than the other items.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, my face does proc Leandries. Thank you very much, Craze Sepia. Or Sephia or Sepia. I don't know. I'm drinking fucking.
Not very
Your face
related,
name.
but I liked it more when it's Leandries Lament. I just thought that was a better name.
I like that a lot.
Well, I guess while you're looking that up, we just have to say that, go back and listen to our points a moment ago. If you have to rewind, do it. But there's just a small set of champions you'll build it on, and usually you'll build it on a champion after you've built tier of the goddess, rather than in a Grail. What the fuck is it called?
Athene's
No,
or
the-
the
Chalice.
Chalice.
Harmony.
If you're building Chalice, you might as well finish Athene's. Otherwise, build tier, and then you could build a Haunting Guy second because of the extra magic pen. So.
and
Okay,
don't-
I guess just to clarify here, so most abilities which apply on-hit effects such as Infinite Duress and Toxic Shot will not trigger Leandry's Torment.
Okay, so then Vorpal
Also
Spikes would not do it.
Also excluded are items with on-hit effects such as Wit's End and Nashor's Tooth.
I was gonna say.
But Righteous Fury and Vorpal Spikes do.
Oh, Vorpal Spikes does.
Vorpal
Yeah.
Spikes does.
interesting.
Ah,
Okay, today we
Interesting.
learned.
So if you're looking
Yeah.
more more pen and some extra added dot damage when you try to
works with
nom
Cho.
somebody,
But
build it on Cho.
yeah.
But
Every
it-
time you hit him, bam.
it does not work with item passives that deal magic damage such as
Right.
Thornmail and Sunfire Cape.
Frickin-
What a weirdly nuanced item, because it does work with the actives from Cutlass, Gunblade, and Deathfire Grasp, and it's not specific about damage type. So what a weirdly nuanced item.
Right.
That
Well,
is.
it's not really broken on Cho because you need life and armor and stuff on Cho. So you're gonna still want to build like a Rod of Ages if you're going ability power based, and then into like a Wit's End if you're gonna go attack speed based, because you're gonna end up doing more damage than you would with the Leandries.
Yeah,
Most likely.
and it's not like it's helping his ult.
Yeah, not at all.
Right. It only get it for the Vorpal spikes, pretty much.
It's one of those if you're really, really far ahead and you don't need the extra, you don't need a Randuin's or something.
Go Nasher's Tooth Cho'Gath and
Yes.
just own with the Leandris.
One of my favorite builds is Nasher's Tooth Nautilus. Have you ever seen him attack at 2.0 attack speed?
I don't want to because he's probably
You
dead.
put his mask on, he goes boom, 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 back and forth really fast with his axe, and it's hilarious.
His anchor.
Anchor.
Oh, yeah, anchor, sorry.
Get it right.
Same thing. He's drinking.
All right, moving on to the next question. Kurt writes in, what would an ability, power, magic, damage, base, range, auto attack, carry need? Oh, we already answered this one. Sorry, Kurt. We talked, people actually wrote in, why didn't you talk about Teemo? Well, because some of us get drunk at the end of the podcast, we forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else
And
did we
everybody
forget about
hates
there?
Teemo. So
That's right.
Kale.
Kurt has another question, so.
I think we
Did
forgot
we
about
talk
Kale.
about? Did we? Oh yeah, I remember saying I did forget about Kale.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to talk about Teemo because we hate Teemo.
Right.
Fuck
So
Teemo.
yeah, that's pretty much what I said. I responded to him and said we just hate Teemo. Kurt writes in, what do you guys think of Crumb's super support jungle Elise build in their match versus LMQ? This is for Chira because you know about the super support jungle Elise.
All right. So basically,
Are you
was
gonna
gonna-
name the?
go for it.
I think it's the.
It's
I was
Golem,
just gonna say,
Locket,
Mikhails is
Mikhails.
what makes it the super support jungle, because Golems and Locket is support jungle. That's
Well, I'll keep
popular
going.
enough.
Is it a viable build on any other jungle champions or only Elise because of how versatile her kit is without getting power from items? Could you see any top lane tanks adopting such a build to complement a carry jungler at a competitive level?
Top
I'm
lane.
gonna.
Yeah.
Before anything else, I'm gonna say no because that was played on 4.9 or whatever, and Mikhail's got radically changed and became way more expensive on 410.
With the Mikhails, yeah. I think the Locket, not the Golem top, obviously, but the Locket out of top is fine.
Sure.
Not a super support, but support top.
I mean, as long as we're gonna have late game scaling top laners who can carry, I doubt we're gonna see, like, until the meta shifts, we're not gonna see that many support.
Well, I
top
think we need to
going
talk
to
about
build
Spirit
like
of the
that.
Ancient Golem and why Elise can get away with building that and why this works on Elise and no other junglers.
It works on Elise because CDR and a bunch of abilities that do percent damage. Basically, Elise has a ton of abilities, so if you have a lot of CDR on her, you can use all of her abilities even more. So basically, your damage is always going to be good because A, it's almost all percent damage, and she's kind of a late game peel bot when she has a 4-second cocoon at the end of the game, so she can shift from being an early game foe assassin bully to help make some crazy ganks happen early, and then transfer in kind of a late game super support tanky pain in the ass spider jungler who's doing consistent damage regardless of the target she's hitting.
And that's just it. Like
That works.
she's so difficult to kill with those items, and she's never going to have any mana trouble because she has that Mikhail's. Like, it's just this weirdly effective build for her and probably doesn't work on anybody else.
Nope.
She is one of those champions, much like Nidalee, and the reason we thought Nidalee jungle might be kind of effective is because 6 ability champions are always more powerful early game than 3 ability champions because you always will have 2 abilities baked into your kit plus some kind of passive with your ultimate.
And it doesn't cost any resources when you're in your transformed form for either of them.
Only Jace has resources
Yeah,
in both
Jace
ones,
has
right?
resources. All of his cost mana every form.
I could see doing that super support build on Sejuani. Again, Dom, I'm bringing her up because I play her a lot, but
No, that's fine.
I do
Well,
the regular
she
support.
could-
The
build
other
all
guys like to
time,
hate
so-
on her.
No,
I just say you do what you do.
now that
Yeah, yeah.
now that we are transferring into more of the support style jungles,
Jungle, yeah.
we could see some Sejuani
again.
come back into this.
Well, I mean, especially if the changes go through with what they're planning for people like Maokai, Sejuani, any of the other support junglers. This kind of is the build they would go anyway. And this is kind of like a late season 3-esque build regardless.
I mean, would you really get the Mikhails on them too?
You can.
Or is that the item that you would probably replace with something?
I'd probably
Yeah.
replace Mikhail's, but I mean, I can see on somebody like Maokai, if you can get that, and it's not going to hurt your ability to tank anything, you can dive with your W on people at turrets and just cancel the fact that the turret will never be hitting you, and you can just lock them down while your team kills them.
You get 2 free escapes with that Mikhail's, right?
Yep.
Because with your release,
Right,
you
just-
have E, and then you have Mikhail's get out of a stun.
With that build, you don't have any armor. That's 3 items and you have 0 armor.
But do you need it when you have so much utility in your kit and so much damage? Because you would build that when you're playing. Did they play Twitch in that match? I want to assume they're going to play either Lucian or Twitch in that match. And if you're going to play like some kind of hyper carry, they may have even played somebody else. But if you're going to play either an early game bully or a late game hyper carry in those matches, that makes sense to run a super utility jungler that still can duel very well because she has a lot of damage baked into her kit. And so building utility on a jungler works quite well for that reason. And that's kind of like why Curse of the Sad Bullet Time back when Season 2 worked so well, because you could build a tanky jungler that wouldn't die, had a lot of CC.
Season 3, but yeah.
Or, sorry, early Season 3. And then you had those hyper carries. Granted, Misfortune her ultimate was super powerful then, but with that withstanding, Twitch could still work in a Curse of the Sad Bullet Time type of scenario because of his ultimate. Curse of the Sad Spray and Pray or something,
It's rat-a-tat-tat now.
It's spray
Yeah,
and pray.
it'll always be spray and pray in my heart.
But sewer skewers, Adam.
Sewer skewers for everybody! All right.
I gotta love that.
I'm playing Twitch tonight.
I think it's. I mean, it clearly was a good build. I think it's. I mean, those 3 specific items. Elise is
Kind of the
Elise.
outlier.
Yeah, I mean, she's always kind of the outlier.
Yep.
It just doesn't matter.
Yeah,
God, I
think
love
when you
that
add the
bitch.
McHale's, it changes it. It changes completely. That's where it's less likely. But you take away the McHale's, and
I mean, you
you can see it a lot more other than Elise.
you put Randuin's in there, Sunfire Cape, whatever armor item you like, and now it's a
Right.
different story. Yeah, it's not as util. I mean, you could do Frozen Heart, I guess, if you were really that,
More supporty, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd make up for the armor and it even more CDR for a
Yep.
lot of those champions who get
Yeah.
so much out of CDR.
Mhm.
Especially people like Maokai that already have a
Maokai's
ton of base
probably
health.
going to be a nightmare, and not a lot of people are going to pick him up.
A listener wrote in today that I haven't been able to forward the email yet, so maybe we should talk about this. I apologize, listener, if I don't have your name because I don't have the email in front of me, but he did ask if Maokai, with the changes and the item changes like the Spirit of the Ancient Golem, I guess it gives you... there's something out in the PvE right now about Spirit of the Ancient Golem, and he asked, does that mean that Maokai is dependent on his team, or can he carry on his own like the other
I guess
generators?
I would need to see what the Spirit of the Ancient Golem change was. I
didn't see that.
Yeah, that one hadn't made it through.
It may have just made it through today. Sorry about my camera, guys.
If Maokai gets back to a point where he's played a lot, kind of like he used to be played in Season 2, where people like Odd One made Maokai extremely famous. The thing with Maokai, even when he's really good, that champion's super, super dependent on his team doing well to win the game.
Big time.
He's like a champion
was.
that is a giant machine for getting a ton of kills for your teammates, and then they carry the game after you facilitate hot death to everybody on the enemy.
See, I honestly think that these changes sort of compress that. He no longer gets his teammates as fed as he used to because of the range changes for the most part. And I guess a little bit of the damage stuff is going to affect his clear. But he's also going to be more impactful in the late game because percent-based damage, and he's just going to be zipping all over the battlefield, and wherever he's standing, he is absorbing damage and he's reducing damage for his team. Like, that's going to have a really, really big impact in the end of the game.
Well,
whereas his ult as
Compared
it
to
currently
Naya.
is, doesn't really have that same kind of effect.
Well, and here's the thing too. Just because you have a W that's going to be on like a 4-second cooldown and you're able to lock somebody down doesn't mean you have to engage all the time, particularly when they nerf the radius on that ability or the distance on that ability. He can be a huge peel bot now and just completely lock anybody who's trying to dive his
Dom
carry.
can see. I think Dom sees why I just want to stop this conversation right now and start talking about the PvE stuff. I just linked it in the Skype chat. Sorry if you saw it popping down.
Oh, yeah, I pulled it up. The first thing I saw was that crazy Urgot splash.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
so there are new items. Okay,
Smoother.
guys, we're gonna shift now into PvE discussion because this is
Whoa,
relevant
what
to
the
Maokai.
shit is this?
There is a new item. Okay, so on the PvE, there's a new item called Quill Coat that now builds into Spirit of the Ancient Golem, and actually Bloodthirster got a huge buff. And I
Yeah,
think
Yes, it
I
is.
think you will couple that with Warlord.
Holy shit!
Okay, actually, I take that back. It's not that huge of a buff because it's bonus attack damage and not total attack damage.
Still.
But then again, you might triple that with Warlord. Anyway, okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about Cool Coat.
Wow.
Because I know we're talking about this. Cool Coat right now is a new item on the PBE that we're going to talk about that builds out of a Hunter's Machete and Cloth Armor. It gives you plus 20 armor, and the unique passive is Sapping Barbs, plus 40 health regen per 5, plus 30 mana regen per 5 upon taking damage from monsters. So both those you get 40 and 30 upon 5 when you take damage from monsters. Attacking monsters lose 5% of their maximum health over 3 seconds. Unique active, Hunter's Ward. Place a stealth ward that reveals the surrounding area. So this is a alternative to the Pharaoh Flare for tanky junglers. Now
Hello,
this
free utility.
That's a good item.
hello, Nautilus, Zac, and Maokai.
Yep.
Wait a
That's-
minute. That builds
And
into...
like Amumu's already good, and he's going to be better.
Yeah, that builds into
look at
Ancient
that.
Golem.
Yeah.
So this item right here, just kind of looking at this, how much health and
That's
mana
the
we see
Wriggles
when you damage.
counterpart.
Yeah, exactly. But when you look at this is 100% going to bring some utility junglers back into play because of this.
Well, I mean, especially when you get this item too, you can just immediately get rid of your trinket and pick up a sweeper and then go on a giant map-wide gank spree,
And
which is awesome.
And it scales. It's got scaling health.
Spirit of the Ancient Golem. Oh yeah, plus 25% bonus health.
Bonus health. It's so... It
Oh my
scales in the
God.
late game when you... So, Cho'Gath,
Oh
when
my
you're
God.
freaking huge.
Yeah.
Jungle Show.
You get even
Yeah,
bigger.
then otherwise it has health, CDR, armor. It no longer has tenacity.
Well,
But
I'm excited for this on Sejuani.
No one
She's
wanted
Holy
tenacity on it
freaking
anyway.
beast.
So it has plus 25%
but I
bonus
did call
health.
this. Like months
The-
when Feral
I-
Flare came out, Spirit of the Ancient Golem was just a bad item.
Hold on. It has plus 25% bonus health, plus 200 health, 10% cooldown reduction, and plus 20 armor. Unique passive is 60 health and 45 upon taking damage, with attacking monsters losing 5%. Conservation, it has conservation on it, and it has a ward on it. It's got a giant buff.
Like, this item is so good. I don't think that 25% bonus health is going to stick, because I feel like late game you're going to have a bunch of junglers running around with over 4,500 health.
They'll probably drop it down to like something like
15.
Yeah, 15 seems about right. That, like, 25% bonus health is a lot of health.
I
the
gotta
free
assume they're gonna put the wards
it.
on the other two spirit items, because otherwise,
Yeah.
now now 2 of your 4 jungle items have wards and 2 of them don't.
It would make
I
sense.
wonder if the area of the active on this item is the same as the area of the active on Pharaoh Flare, or if Pharaoh Flare is unique in the fact that it
And it's
gains that
extra,
giant ward
yeah.
because you have to build it to get to it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, you guys following me?
Yeah.
I follow you. I don't know what they'll do. I doubt they'll. I think it's just gonna be like a
We'll
normal
see.
ward range.
Interesting.
But they got rid of the tenacity on it. So now you can even build, which is fine, because now I don't feel bad about buying Merc Treads.
Yeah.
Like, I
for the
pick junglers
MR.
I don't get Merc Treads on if I know I'm going to build Ancient
It was
Golem.
silly to have tenacity in that item and then have Merc Tread that had magic resist, but no other boots that had magic
Had
resist.
magic
and
resist,
other-
yep.
Anything else, because you were forced to build tenacity that didn't work because you needed the magic resist to continue to be
There
tanky.
were so many times that I traded Merc Treads for, like, Swiftness boots just because the tenacity.
Right.
And that's where a lot of the money in that item was tied up. Actually, now that I think about it, in Spirit of the
Was
Ancient
that
Golem.
tenacity?
Yeah.
I feel like this puts this on it. I think with this item, this puts this on par with Pharaoh Flare for solo queue. But I think this is going to completely shift the LCS
build.
front. I think you're going to see a lot more utility. Jarvan is going to be huge with this item.
Well, that's just it. We were already seeing that happening. I mean, we're kind of going into that 3 utility champions and 2 carries,
Yeah.
and define utility however you will, whether that's tanky utility or,
Bruisery
just full line, Nami utility.
support.
But
Yeah.
either way, it's 3 utility, two just super carries, and that this just sort of reinforces that, whether by intent or by accident.
Right. And well, here's it's still going to be depending on what you want to do with that champion, because someone like Jarvan could still build Spirit of the Elder Lizard early, and
If
gank
they're
early
ahead
do lots
and
of
murder
damage.
people.
They don't have to be ahead. It's just what you want to do. Well, I guess ahead is like, do I have a kill early? Do I have a kill by 10 minutes? Well, I can build Spirit of the Ancient Lizard, or Elder Lizard, excuse me. But other than that, Quill Coat is cheap enough at 700 gold for the Divine Coat, so it's 1,000 gold total, right?
Worth noting is that
it's
Hunter's
700 gold
Machete.
total.
Hunter's Machete is 25 gold more. I don't think that's supremely relevant, but it's happening.
Okay.
But this Urgot splash, guys, this Urgot splash.
Okay, great. I can feel better when I lose
Very
the game.
smooth.
He looks well. Okay, when we lose the game because Record decides to jungle Urgot, and then goes 0-8.
You know what? He didn't lose the game because of his champion pick. He lost because of his zeal, his zest. I don't mean the item zeal. His zeal. I'm going in, guys. He's
I'm
joking.
going
We're
in,
not
I'm
going in,
There's
guys.
no way.
This
I'm
is
going in.
bias.
Every connect
reckless
position
play.
first or over Dragon Pit into them. We're nowhere near.
Why
I
did you
told you I
guys
was going
follow
in.
me?
So
Okay,
it's
Record.
interesting to note that Hunter's Machete no longer has a unique passive of Maim,
Right.
but has a 10 attack damage versus monsters and 5 damage reduction versus monsters.
But who cares? It kills attacking monsters lose 5% of their maximum health over 3 seconds. Like that
What?
probably.
No. Machete doesn't have that. Machete
No.
just has
No,
plus
no,
5
no.
damage
That,
reduction
yeah.
monsters.
So,
Because
the Quill Coat.
no, because it no longer affects spells.
Yeah.
Maim used to affect spells, didn't it?
What, Maim?
Yeah.
No, yeah, man.
Maim wasn't just attack damage; it was all damage. I'll check. I got it right
It
here.
was damage against monsters.
So that does affect. I mean, like Fiddlesticks, for example. No, I'm just like he's
I'm just laughing. No,
immediately
because
to
they like
mind.
to kill Fiddlesticks.
Yeah. It was just overall damage, bonus damage.
That's
right?
fine, but to be perfectly honest, Phil doesn't really need the tiny
does.
little bit of extra damage to survive through the jungle anyway.
So on the PvE right now, guys, again, Essence Reaver, attack damage increased to 60 from 50. I think that is pretty big attack damage. I think that might be worth it to build an 80 carries at early if you can get it if you can keep up with the enemy. A 10 attack damage puts that on par with BF Sword, or just under par.
I wouldn't be surprised if we stopped
That's a big
seeing
buff.
tier built on any of the potential ADs that would buy tier just because of that change to Essence Reaver, just because it doesn't put off. You're still going to have the mana and it's not going to put off any major damage. You're going to get a decent chunk of damage for getting an item that's going to allow you to sustain. I think that's a pretty good change.
Yeah. I want to
Anyway,
mess around.
I guess we'll see what happens when it all plays out.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about Bloodthirster here as well. Bloodthirster, I feel like we're blowing through this, and we don't have to. I just feel like we're just so excited.
Well,
about these
and
changes.
here's the deal too. All this stuff is just on the PBE, so
And
it's
they're all
up
very
for
tentative,
change.
so-
Yeah, but
Tentative.
The tentative changes to Bloodthirster are new unique passive plus 10% bonus attack damage. Unique passive, shield value reduced to 50 to 350 because of that 10% bonus attack damage. And the decay time has been increased to 25 from 15. I feel like the decay time is already really long at 15. So increasing it increases the value of this item.
yep,
Right.
a lot can happen in 30 seconds.
Now-
Just the one new passive, 10% bonus attack damage. Boom, you're
This
helping make
may-
up for what you lost.
I think this makes Warlord
old BT.
worth picking up now, and I think people might start building Bloodthirster and playing Warlord if they want that early advantage. Because Warlord is 8% bonus damage, now you're getting 18% bonus attack damage,
More or less.
more or less.
Good point. It's
Well, yeah, it's
it
not a total
synergizes
18%.
with the item,
It's
so
10
Yeah,
and
yeah.
8. But yeah, they synergize with each other pretty well, and that would I think that would make up for the fact that you didn't take the crit. You wouldn't need the crit mastery anymore. You wouldn't need the extra % damage mastery anymore, and then you could sacrifice a point somewhere else in your tree and pick up Warlord for that.
I can see that. Honestly, this kind of brings champions that were really hurt from the Bloodthirster change, like Graves.
Yeah, Graves was dead.
Yeah,
anyone who
this
did the Legolas build.
yeah, this kind of brings him back into at least closer to contention than he was prior to this change. So I hope this goes through the way it does. That'll be interesting because honestly, I think it kind of brings those that weren't building BT in line with those who are rushing a Blade of the Rune King or
Well, yeah,
an
they
IE.
essentially killed Varus and Graves in that last patch, like we
Yep.
just mentioned, because of that BT change. And now you need a reason to build BT on characters.
I mean, do you see people rushing BT, or do you see them going
I think it depends on the champion.
Essence Reaver?
It depends on
BT?
the champ.
Yeah.
I think
like somebody
we have
like-
enough.
You'd have to rush. If you're going to go Essence Reaver, you have to rush it because
Yep.
it'll diminish its effect
Right,
as the game goes
right.
on.
No, I was just saying, do you think people are still
Like a
going
Roa.
to ignore Essence Reaver?
Yes.
Because somebody like Varus actually
Probably.
does get a lot out of that item just because it has cooldown reduction on it. He uses a
doesn't,
lot of
though,
mana.
because he gets Varus and Graves got so much off of bonus attack damage than they did cooldown reduction and
No, and I
anything
get that.
else.
I'm just saying, like, now knowing that Essence Reaver is getting 10 more damage and Bloodthirster is getting this new passive on it, it's
I would think you would still prioritize Bloodthirster.
except it's like Bloodthirster's not that good when it's your first item because that bonus attack damage isn't that much.
then you're not playing Varus or Graves because Essence Reaver is wasted on either of those champions.
I agree on Graves. I don't know if I agree on Varus.
Okay,
I don't know about Graves either, 'cause
he's so mana. I
Let me put
wouldn't-
this in perspective for you, and the reason that I say this is because when you do an engage in bottom lane and you have Essence Reaver, you get one rotation of spells off, more than likely. If you get that extra rotation of spells off, it's just out of the matter of fact that somebody has some kind of sustained support and heal in the bottom lane, so you might get
you're
one more
looking
item off.
You're looking at it from just an engage in a fight
You
standpoint. I'm
have
looking
to,
at it
though, because that,
no, no, no,
when
no,
you
no,
are
no, no,
having
no.
that item,
You're-
it is because you are in...
Adam, Varus is not. Varus sits and he pokes him down and everything. That's how
Sure.
he approaches that, and he's going to be able to get mana back from this item, and he's going to be able to poke more
It'll
frequently.
sustain his laning phase.
I was
Yeah,
about to say,
I
Varus.
get that, but
Varus
why
is
not
a
do
different
more
story. I
damage
agree.
with Bloodthirster instead of having you don't gain mana that much mana back with Essence Reaver. It's really not that sustain worthy unless you have a lot of mana added to your kit with Tear of the Goddess.
It's still something, though.
It's not enough.
It's enough to get an extra ability off 3 auto attacks.
Is it?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I want the math right now. Math.
I was watching I'm a Cutie Pie stream earlier today, and he straight up said that he will never ever buy a tier on any champion that formerly went blue build, particularly Ezreal, or anybody that uses a lot of abilities like that, just because buying a tier would put his build back way too far to be able to
Sure.
do anything, and that if you're good enough to be able to get a couple auto attacks off between your burst or anything like that, you'll have enough mana to keep pumping out
so
abilities.
You're gold or higher is what you're saying? Like, let's be honest here. If you're Ezreal to get those couple auto attacks off, you have to be really good with Ezreal.
I'm not saying on people. Like, you can get auto attacks off on minions and it still gives you some mana back. You just get more for targeting
laning
champions.
phase.
Yeah. Like, I don't...
I would never ever build Essence Reaver on Varus because the attack damage and the mana you're gaining and it's not worth it compared to the where you are moving and how the game moves. In a bubble, it's fantastic because you're stuck in the bottom lane and you're able to poke and push them out of lane and gain your life back. But in the grand scheme of the game, more happens and you're not actually able to get those extra auto attacks off like you want to because people freeze the lane, or you are attacking, you have to go and attack that dragon, or you have to spend a lot of time moving around to position yourself properly. You're not actually getting all those auto attacks off that you want to say that you are. And that's why we said like Essence Reaver was going to be great, and then it ended up turning
If
out
you're
to be shit.
CSing, you're getting the auto attacks off.
Yep.
That's what
You're
I mean.
getting
This
one
this
auto-
allows you
you're
to
getting-
harass.
You're getting
This allows champions who have to prioritize CS over harass because they don't have the mana pool to sustain it.
But Varus isn't.
now it allows them to harass more
Varus
while
isn't,
they're CSing.
prioritizing auto attacks over CS. I mean, every AD carry is
CS
obviously
over
prioritizing
harass.
CS because that gives you more gold. But
Some
you're
champions
not
can
getting
harass.
that many auto attacks off. You're getting 6 auto attacks off per wave, assuming you're last hitting minions properly.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's if the enemy's not like you're that's so simplistic of a view to look at it. You're looking as if the enemy's not trying to push. You're looking at
And
as
you're
like
looking at it as if you get to have free harass and you get
I'm
to
not
have free
saying
everything.
that.
That's exactly what you just said.
No, I'm not saying that. I am saying that you are going to be able to get auto attacks off on something. Yes, maybe you will get 6 auto attacks off it's probably going to be more likely you're going to get more than 6 auto attacks off per wave. If you can harass somebody on the other team, that's great too.
How many times are you
challenge,
out of
Adam.
mana in the point of the game that you would have Essence Reaver when you are in a trade? Almost never.
At what level do you get Essence Reaver? I haven't purchased it
That's
yet.
what I'm asking. Like,
So you've never been without mana as an AD
fuck
carry
off.
at the
like, I've never
7-minute
been
mark.
without mana. Don't even try to pull that shit.
I'm just saying, it
I'm
doesn't-
just
your
saying that if
argument
you
doesn't
have
make any
Essence
sense
Reaver
there.
and you are in lane, you are not out of mana when you are saying you're out of mana. Essence Reaver is fantastic for those long engages or team fights when you're going to have use that cooldown reduction in your favor, much like Ezreal, who reduces cooldown reduction when he lands Q, and Corki, who uses cooldown reduction to gain more rockets. Anybody else, 10% cooldown reduction, not worth it over extra attack damage.
I'm sorry, Essence Reaver is out right now, and you're able to mess with it, and I can't trust what you're saying right now, Adam, because you're not using it. You're only theory crafting. Buy it on a mana-hungry AD carry.
What do you mean I'm not using it? Fuck off, DeClaude. I use the item and I understand how it works. I would never
you
build
hate
it
the
right
item,
now on
so you
Varus.
refuse to try it. So go ahead and try it because
What do you? No. Absolutely fucking not. I have used this item and I understand how it works.
What have
and
you used it? Who have you used it on?
I've
and
used
how
it
many
on
times?
Corki, and I've used it on Lucian, and I've used it on Ezreal. And the only person at any time that I found it useful on was Ezreal. No, fuck you. 3 games. I've used it in 6 games. I played each champion at least twice.
6 games.
You know
Okay.
what? We're
That's a
done.
large
We're done with this
sample.
fucking conversation because you're gonna piss me off so bad because you're obviously fucking trolling me, and I'm not
not.
gonna sit down and get into this fucking conversation with you.
I want some more data.
That's me too.
You're asking for
I
data,
want more
I
data
want
too.
more
And I
data.
asked Chira for it. And he didn't crunch
And
the
the
fucking
best
numbers.
thing is for the pessimist to get that
where am
data
I gonna get
himself.
the
So,
data?
and then you know what? You're probably going to affirm your suspicions, which will make you even more passionate to explain them later. So, I want to see you mess around with some normal games. Use a little banhammer if you have to.
Do
I don't care.
you want me to walk
But
away
get
from
me
this
some
podcast
real
right
data.
now? Because if you want me to walk away, you just keep talking. I'll walk away. I swear to God, I will.
Oh, he's AFK.
You know what-
If
you know what I
guys
hear?
One more
You know
kill,
what
I'm
I
going
hear?
AFK. All right. Anyway.
How you
So
doing,
well,
buddy?
I actually did just for kicks go and crunch some numbers. I had to make a lot of assumptions, so they're probably not great. But I figured you probably get that item around level 9.
All right, no, hold on. Listen, for the fucking chat, I didn't start fucking losing the argument. I just knew for the sake of the conversation that it wasn't worth continuing to have this conversation. Sorry, Dom, for interrupting you. Please continue to go.
Assuming you get it around level 9, which probably is an overestimation there. You are getting about 23 mana back per auto attack. Given that it's on a piercing arrows on a 12 to 10 second cooldown at that level. That's giving you should be getting 3 to 4 auto attacks in there every time it's up, which is going to give you enough mana to cast the ability again.
Continue spamming your
to
Q.
continue spamming it.
Well, I
Which
can't
is
exactly
exactly
the
what
item
we're
because I haven't
10%
tried it yet, so
cooldown
I'm not
reduction
going
doesn't
to,
give
but-
you enough cooldown reduction to be able to cast the item again in a team fight unless it's extended. 1 second is it's not even a second.
Now,
off of
to
an auto attack.
Adam's point, for the team fights, if you have this item by the time you're team fighting, I agree with him. It's not as effective. You sell it and you get a big ticket item. But
per se.
it's more for the
it's an
laning phase.
item-
Is what I think it's designed for, right?
Yeah, it's an item that's designed for champions who want a protracted laning phase, but you can't say that it like you can't invalidate the item because it's designed for that, because there are a lot of champions who are designed to be stronger during the laning phase, and that's where they just want to be successful there. And the quicker our game transitions to team fights, the worse they become as a result of that. And you have to start approaching the game differently if you're that champion. But you can't say it's like you can't discount the benefits of the item during the laning phase just because it doesn't transition as well into other stages of the game, because the laning phase is part of the game. In theory, it's a third of the game, like it or not.
I think
Sometimes it's half the game.
Okay, here's the thing. If you can keep the laning phase drawn out and just let your AD carry sit down there, it's probably pretty good on any AD carry that's going to be hurting for mana otherwise. If they buy it and team fights start to happen and they're not laning anymore, it's bad and you're fucking gonna die. There you go.
There you go. Yeah, that's pretty much the argument I've been trying to point this out.
There it
Let's
is.
gather some more data.
Honestly, I get why you don't like it if you're operating on the convention that you should be able to manage your resources well enough to not need the item and everything. The idea behind this item is that you can change the way you manage your resources to be a more aggressive player, not from an engagement standpoint, but from just attrition.
Hey, Adam.
Sounds good to me, Dom.
What's up?
Dom and Mai's name are switched.
I know they are. I know. I didn't realize that until 46 minutes into this
Well,
podcast.
I'll
'cause I
just get
tried
to be
up.
Dom today, so...
All right,
Nice.
well, we'll lay this whole PvE discussion to rest because
Oh,
Yeah.
thank God, I thought somebody was going to be stabbed.
if
Well,
we were
I
there,
really-
I probably would have thrown a beer bottle at somebody and yelled at you, told you to shut the fuck up.
I really didn't want you to walk away from here, Adam, so I'm glad you stayed.
Like I'm gonna actually walk away from the podcast,
You
please.
threatened to do it.
You've
and-
done it before.
Yeah, when the podcast ended,
right,
if we would have
right.
this conversation with like 2 minutes left, I would have just gotten up and walked away.
Past behavior is the best predictor for future behavior.
Yes,
All right, now that I don't have to worry about you walking away anymore, get the fucking data before you talk, man. Come on.
That's what I
play
fucking told you.
scorekeeper.
You guys had the same goddamn argument, and there's no fucking data to.
Oh,
back
I'm
it
only
up.
arguing that you don't have all the data. You have 6 games.
I'm
That's all
only arguing that you don't have
I'm
any
not
data
a
either.
friend,
So you know
Reaver, and
what?
I'm not against
Eat
it
it,
because I don't
Claude.
We just
Eat
came
it.
back full circle,
I don't
friends.
believe it.
Let's
Sorry, I
relax.
brought it back. I went back to poking with the Adam poking stick.
You know what's great
Jesus
about
Christ.
Adam?
You know what?
Adam
At
will
least
argue
you're
no matter
at
what.
least you're adamant about your opinion. Okay, let's move on.
You know what I read the other day?
Oh.
It was one of those seals,
found appropriate about being
the
pumped.
advice animal seals, and it was like when you're arguing with somebody and you realize you're wrong in the middle of the argument. You've ever seen that seal on advice animals? It's like-
yeah.
And yeah, and I wanted to comment. No, you are never wrong. You just have to argue to the point where the person quits. Like you have to be so wrong in your argument and so passionate about how wrong your argument is that they will eventually walk away and quit. And that's how I approach
Until you meet
arguments.
the brick
I
wall
know
of
way
self-sufficiency.
too many people like you. That wasn't getting to me. It was like, okay, let's just actually crunch numbers and see here.
Right.
Then we will know.
Good. Dom makes some good educated guesses, and we can speculate, which is great
Yeah.
for our PvE talk. But Essence Reaver's out. It's been out. Fucking mess around with it. Come on.
People have, and everyone. I mean, like the consensus right now in the community is Essence Reaver is bad. That 10 AD plus might make it better in the future. So
We'll see.
I'll give you
Yep.
that. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, guys.
I think since we're all heated up, we should bring up the jungle timers now.
Why not? Fuck it. Let's throw more fuel on the fire.
Because Days isn't here.
Let's do it.
I can't argue
Yeah, let Days in
anymore.
here.
I don't know if I can argue anymore points.
I don't believe that for a second.
I don't
You're
believe
out
it.
of Steam.
Is Days
Steam
online? 'Cause I want to
summer
go play
sale,
some
you're
ranked.
sold out?
No. Let's not talk about them, and let's go ahead and do just a couple other listener questions.
All right, sounds good.
We finally had our argument for the first time in 2 months.
Yep.
Unfortunately, my argument was I get drunk and yell obscenities. So I'm sorry. I feel like I should just.
The wine should be in your glass, not coming out of your mouth. So
All right. On to
Sizz
the next
Lord.
listener question.
All right.
Sizz Lord.
Says Lord Right. Hold on. Is it absolutely? You know how much this bottle of wine cost me? $2.99.
wow.
It was on sale at
cheap.
Jungle Jim's. It was an $8.99 bottle of wine. It cost me $2.99.
Class in a glass.
Dom,
Right there.
I love you, Dom.
Just,
There's a lot of judgment coming from Dom today.
there's a lot of judgment coming from
Dude, it was on sale for $2.99. It's like the.
No, you can't. You can't not buy that. You have to buy that. You have a
Thank you.
like an obligation to
obligated.
yourself.
You know
to
what
buy
else
that.
I bought? Okay, I bought Seagram's has in a 4-pack. There are apple mimosas for $1. Why wouldn't I buy that for $1? It was $1.
So about League of Legends.
I feel like this podcast is completely off the rails at this point.
I
don't
wonder why.
You sound like you probably need to go to rehab for a little while.
Yeah.
even- $1.
All right. Sizzlord writes, is it absolutely useless to take Smite unless you're the jungler? If I'm top lane, for example, when might I take Smite? I've taken Smite outside of jungling when I face a Heimerdinger at mid. How might I capitalize it? How may I capitalize with it in other cases?
I like the way you're thinking. You the Heimerdinger, Smite for the turret, counterplay there. I like where your mind's at with it. and I can see its use there. But usually, the other summoner spells would be better for you in the long run. Heal, for example, if you're mid, just to get out of those tight situations. Once the team fights start happening as well, they're going to pounce on you. You'll have one little oh shit button there, maybe to help you out. Top lane, teleport, I think still reigns king, even after its nerf. But that's just me.
Potentially ignite if you're a super aggressive top lane champion that's probably going to get a kill against a weak laner.
I mean,
If you're worried about Heimerdinger getting fat or really just ruining your life, I like where your mind's at. I think Smite is a way to help counterplay him.
What you're really doing in this situation is forcing your team into a position where the non-turret and inhibitor objectives become your top priority in all instances. Because if Baron and Dragon are down, you have two summoners that are basically useless to you. They are. If you have two smites, you have exceptional control over those two objectives. Nobody can,
if you're missing
that.
either of those two objectives, and you start them, something's going wrong.
Oh yeah, then you have that that looming presence over your shoulder. There's no way in hell we should ever lose a dragon or
A
baron.
smite war.
I like where your head is at, DeClaude, where you like how his head is there, using Smite to counter the Heimerdinger.
Right.
But if you know a Heimerdinger is being picked, there are definitely champions that can stop the Heimerdinger's turrets, and you might consider picking the counter pick in the Heimerdinger rather than taking that Smite, because that again allows you to run another utility spell or offensive spell that could potentially help your team in team fights.
Or it's going to be useful against a champion other than Heimerdinger.
just play Nunu and eat the turrets. Just eat them.
You could do that.
And get your health back from it. Fuck it.
There you go.
You could play somebody like Cassiopeia or Lysandra, or Oriana can kind of do it. Twisted Fate could definitely do it. There's a lot of mid lane champions that can push it back.
Yeah, they have good range to just destroy the turrets anyway without worry of getting counterplayed. So.
Mm-hmm. But if you are hell-bent on playing into Heimerdinger with something else, you could try Smite. I still don't recommend it. I recommend just learning to farm under tower and leaving the laning, doing something else, and letting Heimerdinger do his thing. Because in a team fight, if you can kite away from Heimerdinger, he doesn't do too much. So
he has a lot of control over one zone, but if you can get out of his zone, it takes some bit of time to ramp up.
I think we summed this question up pretty good, and I think I just want to reiterate what Dom was saying. During the time when those objectives are not being contested, you are down a summoner spell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's the only way you can slice it.
So
I can't get this open.
So keep that in mind when you're making that decision.
All right.
But keep being innovative. I like that way of thinking.
We know you do, buddy. GI Trigger Happy writes in, I feel that the best way to improve your game is to know different strategies in the same way you detailed the 4v0 before. Are there any other strategies? Long ago. Oh, yeah. Are there any other strategies that you could elaborate on in this manner, or any resources you recommend to learn this sort of information?
I mean, a lot of those really outside the box strategies end up coming from LCS play. And that's just because they are trying to figure out the next thing that is going to help them just give them an edge over their opponents. I should have said competitive play. I mean, people will try to do things like 1-3-1 lanes, or Adam, weren't we in a game recently where we had like no jungler? No, we had no top laner.
Did we? That was a while ago.
Maybe it wasn't you. I know I was playing the game with Victor.
Yeah,
my brother. Happy birthday, Victor, by the way.
Happy birthday, Victor.
Happy birthday.
Shout out. Dom's brother. Happy birthday.
Yeah, but like we had I think we had I played it with Wrecker because we had 3 supports and 2 marksmen because Wrecker jungled Tarek.
Of course. What?
Of course he did.
Of course he did.
Oh yeah, and it was Thresh and Twitch mid lane, and I was like Nami, and Victor might have been Ezreal. I don't even know who he was, bot and everything. And then we literally had no top laner.
Okay.
So yeah, you can do those types of things, but I wouldn't like try to rely on that as a actually reliable thing. I mean, our mid laners admitted they were trying to troll us that game, and then we still won because.
Okay. So there are excuse me. There are cheese strategies you can get away with. The big and like first giant cheese strategy we saw was Olaf, Twisted Fate, Blitzcrank, Heimerdinger Jungle, and Caitlyn. And two of them ran teleport. Olaf this was when his heyday. He just stayed top lane, teleported bottom lane, started farming. And what they did is they pulled red buff over the enemy's red buff with Blitzcrank. They took red buff with Heimerdinger. They used the turrets and teleport to take out the first turret. And they pushed down middle lane by continuing to use those turrets to juggle aggro off the minions and keeping people back. And it completely threw the enemy team for a loop. This was competitive.
That was like
play.
what, a Zubu Blaze or something?
It was a Korean team. I don't even think it was.
It was a high profile Korean team that got beat.
They did say that they had to have the perfect scenario to run this comp and try it. They took an inhibitor by 10 minutes, and back when they did this, it was unheard of. But you could definitely try those comps where you abuse game mechanics like teleport, because if a turret is targeting a minion and you teleport to it, it cannot be damaged while it's being teleported to because it goes immune. So you can teleport to it more than one time to keep that minion alive and have people take the turret while you're doing so. And they just ran Olaf and had him farm side lanes because he got so far ahead by getting free farm and no kills that he can go in and mop people up during team fights, and that's what happened. So
Wow.
that's
So pretty much the way you learn about these weird things is just watch competitive play or check out the
or
pods.
try really weird shit yourself.
Have 4 other guys and practice with your ranked team.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Cool, innovation. I like it.
What else can you do, right?
Yep.
I just ate some of that Gather's granola. That was a really bad idea because now I want more.
Yeah, that's what happens with it. Like you eat it and then
Damn
you
it.
think, no, okay, I'm just gonna have a little bit, and then I will be good and ready for lunch or dinner or whatever.
Did I mention
Well, it's
that
a convenient
I
little bag you can just
That's the
dump in your
one.
I
mouth?
I
ate
had this one before.
I
That's
ate
fun.
all the turtle tracks in the first day that I got it.
Yeah, I mean,
It's so good.
there might be like
so good.
yeah,
As he chokes to death and dies on granola.
he's dead.
But he died eating what he loved.
He died doing what he loved, eating granola and being an asshole.
I'm really good at both. Let's be honest. Well,
Oh, and
guys.
drunk. Got drunk.
Oh,
That
hold on,
too.
I'm not even
Yeah.
finished my bottle of wine.
So classy.
Seriously.
What vintage? $2.
Vintage 2011.
2014.
2 months ago.
All right, guys. Oh,
Just drink it out of the bottle.
I don't have another glass. All right, guys. That is the Trinity Force podcast. Please go check out the LCS Rundown, which goes live every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, because they have brought a new member, Daniel Dracos from GG Chronicle. He is our graphic artist. He is now part of the Trinity Force podcast. They have 5 members now.
That's a lot of members, dude.
Rundown.
Welcome him aboard. Check out the next
The
episode.
LCS Rundown. Yeah, not the Trinity Force podcast. The
The
LCS
Rundown, yeah.
Rundown,
The-
sponsored by the Trinity Force podcast. I totally said that.
The Trinity
Obviously-
Force
obviously that's what-
Drunkcast.
Somebody else want to take us out and talk about Battle Arena?
No.
What's Battle
We're
Arena?
putting that. We're putting that.
I don't
in.
know. Never heard of it.
You're the host.
God damn you guys. Heads up, we
Bachelor
are
of the
taking
Arts?
off July 7th. You only have one podcast the week after July 4th. We are all going to take that weekend off. We're going to enjoy our weekend. We are not we're not podcasting on that Monday, July 7th. And so you only have one podcast on that Wednesday. So I apologize if you guys are looking forward to 2. You only have 3 episodes of the Trinity Force Network that week. Heads up now.
Because I'll be spending my 4th of July weekend with somebody very special.
We're going to go get drunk together.
I know.
Guys, go check out the Oz LOL podcast. Carrot Colossus and crew are coming out every week. They have a producer that is coming on. Is going to be taking better care of their audio for them, and they will start coming out weekly on Thursdays. We will make sure they come out on Thursdays from now on, so you can download that. Other than that, go check out Battle Arena, TrinityForcePodcast.com. Click the link at the top. And I apologize if this podcast got too loud for your earbuds. You had to turn it down. I still love everybody that's in here, especially Dick Claude, who
Knows how to push your buttons.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, anytime you post a pun,
Right
you push
back
my
at you.
buttons.
And
All
go
right.
eat granola.
And go eat granola, T4, or bit.ly/T4 granola. That is it for the podcast tonight, guys. We will see you all next week.
See ya.